Tapes rolling. And 3, 2.
Joaquin El Chapo Guzman was one of the most wanted criminals in the world. He is the leader of the Sinaloa drug cartel, which is believed to be the most powerful criminal organization in Mexico, with influence in more than 50 countries. Guzman escaped from prison 13 years ago and was on the run until his arrest on Saturday. Here to talk about reactions and the implications of his arrest is Octavio Rodriguez, the Justice in Mexico Project coordinator at the University of San Diego. Welcome to Evening Edition.
Thank you very much, Peggy.
Octavio, who is El Chapo?
El Chapo, as you mentioned, is the leader of the most powerful drug cartel in Mexico and probably the Western Hemisphere. He controls drug trafficking routes throughout Mexico from Central America and South America to the United States and also to Europe, especially his organization is believed to control the entire Baja Peninsula and especially the San Diego-Tijuana corridor.
What is his connection here in the San Diego-Tijuana corridor?
Well, basically, as he managed to assert control of the region, most of the drugs coming through San Diego are either from his cartel or are drugs that he allowed to pass through Tijuana, especially through the tunnels. Authorities have been found a number of tunnels, and it's believed that probably half of them have been built by the Sinaloa Cartel.
Yeah, I understand he also charges other cartels to use those tunnels.
Of course. He the organization, the Sinaloa Cartel, works in a way that they not only smuggle their own product, but also they charge a fee to other organizations to do the same.
Well, U.S. Attorney Laura Duffy declined our request to be on this interview, but released a statement saying in part, under his leadership, the Sinaloa Cartel has moved tons of drugs through the international border in this district. For many years, our narcotics enforcement team has focused almost exclusively on cases involving his cartel. Do you think his arrest will result in the cartel being dismantled, and could it lead to fewer or less drugs being smuggled into the U.S.?
None of those. I think the Sinaloa Cartel is a very well-structured organization, and they will manage to restructure themselves internally soon. And of course, as the amount of drugs coming to the United States, I don't see that I don't see the arrest affecting the trafficking, since the demand still is going to stay the same, and therefore the supply will be the same.
So he still has a lot of contacts, and you think that the restructuring will happen quickly?
Of course. The way the cartel is structured, it's a very horizontal organization, and some of the other leaders, especially Ismael El Mayo Zambada and Juan José Esparragos, also known as El Azul, will potentially take the lead in the organization.
You've called this the biggest accomplishment of the government since the 1980s, and even though you've said it's not going to have much of an impact, how come you think it's a big accomplishment?
It's a big accomplishment for what he represents. He is probably the last of the old generation of drug traffickers in Mexico, and he was surrounded by this mysticism, especially since he escaped from prison and died 13 years ago. He represents impunity. He represents this romantic figure of the criminal who cannot be touched by authorities, and therefore that's what I think it's very important, because of what he is, because of what he represents. However, I don't think that it will impact.
What about the kind of effect it could have on his rival cartels?
Well, we can potentially see his rivals trying to control small regions and small territories, but I don't see a big strike of their rivals to control the big routes or the big territories that Sinaloa controls.
Do you think Guzman will actually be extradited to the U.S.?
I think it's very premature to say that. I would expect Mexico to, of course, he has a pending sentence in Mexico, and I would expect Mexico to prosecute him for the many other charges he has, and probably later, years from now, we'll see him extradited to the United States.
How do we know if Mexico keeps him and he is incarcerated again there that he's not going to escape once again?
Because he is Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, and as one of the biggest accomplishments of the Peña Nieto administration, I don't see them taking the risk of letting him flee.
All right, Octavio Rodriguez, thanks so much for talking with us.
Thank you very much.